So I quit. And I went all in on my coaching. And as a result of that, my practice grew. I became full. I've been on TV. I've been in magazines. I've been in Glamour. I've been in Time Out. I've been in Harper's Bazaar, Channel 4. You know, there's lots of things that happened in that journey. And if someone was to tell me at the point I was made redundant, Aaron, this is waiting for you in your future, I would have laughed in their face.
Okay, let's just do it. If someone pops up in a live stream, surprise. Okay, Karen, welcome to Rad-Ventures, the podcast that takes you on an exhilarated journey through the lives of business owners and entrepreneurs. Business owner, entrepreneur, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, how about you tell everyone about us? Tell everyone, our listeners, watchers, all about yourself, Karen, who you are, what you do, and it'd be interesting because I will get to learn too.
Great. Well, I am Karen Sigalas. I am a business coach and I work with people who feel overlooked at work, who feel stuck, who feel frustrated that they're not getting the promotions or the recognition that they know that they deserve. And these people are really talented people. And I guess the reason why this is so important to me is that I've been coaching for 20 years. Now, if you're looking at me and thinking, gosh, she must be older than she looks, great. And if you're not, damn. Over the last 20 years, what I've seen is, I tend to work with men and women, but in particular women. I've noticed that almost at every turn, they're getting undermined, either by office politics or somehow they're missing out on the promotions. And what I've realised is it's not them. It's actually having the right tools and the way to talk to people and the right people that actually gets you in the spotlight for recognition and promotion. And it kind of blends nicely with what I also do is I'm a freelance trainer for training sessions based in science, psychology and neuroscience. So how to manage your impact on others, how to influence people. And so I marry up all of that science and psychology. I haven't got a psychology degree at all. I wish I had, but I didn't. I don't. And I marry that up with practical strategies for these women. And the reason why, as I said, it's important is I believe everybody should have a voice, should be recognised and own their value. And really importantly, that their value and their worth is not tied up to their achievements, their job or anything else. That people were born worthy. It's so important to me.
It's really interesting, Karen, because I've got loads of thoughts on this. Yeah. Firstly, as you said, influence people, which automatically makes me think of the book How to Make Friends and Influence People.
Oh, yes.
Secondly, I then read a book that was the Psychopath's Guide to How to Be Successful or something.
Ooh.
By Kevin, I can't remember his name, but that was by... It was like Andy McNabb was involved with it, the SAS guy. And that was basically how to get on with your career. And also, having done semi-corporate for a few years, I completely understand a lot of the things you just said there about promotions and the workplace, etc. I'm sure we'll get into that a bit later on. But did you always want to be a coach then?
Did I always want to be a coach? Absolutely not. Yeah. So when I was growing up, when I was really little, we always had that question, do you remember? What do you want to be when you grow up? Well, mine was the typical lawyer or doctor. I didn't quite manage astronaut. I should have done. It was always like a lawyer or a doctor. But actually, what I realised growing up is that you look at the people around you as a frame of reference. And so my cousin actually had her own software company and I thought, yeah, that's the thing to do. Do I know anything about software? No. Absolutely no interest whatsoever. But I decided to do a BSc in Information Systems Management, which is basically programming. Was that for me? Absolutely not. And it's not something that lit my fire. But, you persevere because I just realised that the people around you kind of create your sense of what's possible and what's reality. Anyway, so after that, I was very lucky in that as soon as I finished my degree, I got jobs very quickly. I didn't have to wait tables. I didn't have to do all the bits in between. One of my first jobs was at British Aerospace. And then from there, I just went into consulting and I didn't really think about much what I really wanted to do, except for I need to make enough money to pay for my bills and my mortgage and everything else that's going on in my life, if I'm really honest with you. And then something really absolutely awful happened to me at the time, and I felt like I wanted to dive into a hole and not see the world. Really, really felt awful. It was, I don't know if you remember, back in the early 2000s, there was loads of redundancies being made in the financial sectors, consulting and the IT. I don't know if you remember that in the corporate world. Well, I was a victim of one of those situations. I've survived 8 rounds of redundancy only to find, when I went up to the room thinking that I was going to be given a project, there I was with my notepad and my cup of tea, not my cup of tea, like a water bottle with me, already prepared. And I did think it was a bit odd, because in the middle of the room, on this table, there was a box of tissues, and there was the person I was expecting to see and somebody else. And I'm like, ooh, what's happening here? And this is when, they said at the time, the business is shrinking. I wasn't at British Aerospace, I was somewhere else. The business is shrinking, blah, 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 blah. You've been made redundant. And the first time in my life, actually, I felt like a failure. Never, of course I didn't always get the right things and didn't always win everything and achieve everything. But this was the first time that I really felt like I was a failure, like I'd done something wrong, that something was wrong with me, that I wasn't good enough. It really knocked my confidence sideways. And I remember calling he's my husband now, I think he might be my fiancé then. I was calling him on the phone after I'd walked downstairs, and I held it together in the meeting. And at this point, I couldn't hold it together anymore. When the floodgates opened, I started sobbing like there's no tomorrow, like hysterically sobbing. And I remember talking to the person who picked up the line, and I said, can I speak to my husband? And they went, no, he's in a meeting. And I'm like, no, you need to get him out. And of course I'm sobbing. By the time he got to the phone, he thought I'd been in an accident because I was so hysterical. And literally I couldn't get my words out. That when I actually said I'd been made redundant, it was just such a relief, because I wasn't somewhere injured in a car. So moving forward from then, a friend of mine recommended a book called What Colour Is Your Parachute? And, I didn't do it straight away, but after I felt all this shame and doubt and my confidence was knocked, I decided to change my frame. And my mindset was, actually, I've been paid really well to think about what I want to do in life. Because you never, you asked me that question, but I don't think I ever really thought about what really lit my fire, what really made me excited, what I really wanted to do. It was always a case of, you finish university, you get a job, you've got to pay the bills, you've got to pay off your student loan. If you're in a flat and you're renting, you've got to pay the rent, or you're buying a house, it's like that. No one ever says or gives you, or I felt like I've never really thought deeply about what I wanted to do. So that was my frame. My frame was, I've been paid for almost a year to think about, and I was paid very well, to think about what I actually wanted to do. And I went through this book, What Colour Is Your Parachute, that was recommended by a friend. And I literally treated it like my job. Every day I would get up, I would go through the book, I would do the exercises. Some of the exercises seemed ridiculous, like you're drawing a flower. These different things inside them, and I'm thinking, oh my God, seriously, am I actually going to do this? Is this actually going to lead anyway? Nick it, I don't know, I was a bit cynical. And I thought, do you know what? Stop that, Karen. Just get on with it. Let's see. Incredibly so, this book helped me understand that I actually enjoy helping people get from A to B, transitioning through change. And I'd never really thought about that. Maybe if I was at school or doing my A-levels or going to university, maybe I wouldn't have actually had the life experience to know that that's exactly what I wanted to do, to be honest. So maybe I had to go through all of these years before being made redundant to really understand what it was that lit me up. And so at the time, back in the 2000s, there was life coaching, which was seen by many people as charlatans, scammers, as my son would say. They're scammering you, that's what I would say. All these type of people. And I thought, actually, I'm going to train with a reputable course, which was the Coactive Training Institute, which I did. And as I was going through this training, I was, when you feel super excitement and purpose beyond belief. Like, I'd never experienced this in my life. Now, somebody came up to me and said, Karen, what's your purpose in life? I'd be like, I don't really know. Such a big question. And I realised as I went through this course, and then I went on to do certification, that this is the thing that I felt I was put on the earth to do. I know that sounds really kind of over the top, but it really was. And I remember getting my first clients, owning the fact I said, I'm a coach in training, and I charged a nominal rate, and I grew my practice, and it suddenly started to thrive. But if you've always been around people in traditional careers, you kind of doubt yourself a bit. Because at this time now, I had a mortgage, we were getting married, and I'm thinking, oh my God, is this going to pay the bills? Like I went from a really well-paid consultant to not. Anybody who knows who's starting their business, it's really scary. You don't have a predictable income. You don't have that security. And I'm thinking that, oh no, this is not going to work, of course. Remember, I've never seen anyone be successful around me. I've never been in that circles. I can't even remember if LinkedIn was about then, or maybe it was, I don't know. Anyway. And I thought, no, I'm not going to do this. So I decided to sideline that and do that in the evenings and apply for another job. So I got another job in another consultancy firm, got the money in, and then felt like this was really bloody soulless, compared to what I was doing as my sort of side hustle, if you like. I would just, if you know me, I'm so logical. You would never imagine me saying these words like it felt like it was soulless, because coaching really gives me so much purpose and meaning. I cannot tell you. It's like I get to give people tools and strategies to help make their life even more successful. Who wouldn't want to do that? And amazing is that? And it doesn't mean they stop being successful when our coaching ends. They carry on to be successful. It's just so incredible. Anyway, so I got this job. 3 months in, I'm like, okay, I can't do it. It's not for me. I'm going to take a leap of faith. So I quit. And I went all in on my coaching. And as a result of that, my practice grew. I became full. I've been on TV. I've been in magazines. I've been in Glamour. I've been in Time Out. I've been in Harper's Bazaar, Channel 4. There's lots of things that happened in that journey. And if someone was to tell me at the point I was made redundant, Karen, this is waiting for you in your future, I would have laughed in their face, because I really, honest to God, didn't think I didn't know where I was going to be. And it really shows that you don't have to have it all figured out to be successful. You don't have to know your end point. You just need to take the first step. And this is what I talk to my clients about a lot. You don't have to, you just need to be committed, take an intentional step, and just evaluate how it's going. Because in my practice, I work with a lot of perfectionists. And so they don't apply for the job, or they don't do the thing until they're 100% certain they're going to get this right. You don't have to be 100% certain. You turn up messy, you learn, and you grow. And if I think about how I've evolved from back then to now, my mindset has shifted in so many ways. I look for learning opportunities. I think turn up and learn and grow and develop. As long as I'm better than I was yesterday, today, that's all that matters. So I can't even remember what you said. So that's you asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. And so I didn't say a coach, but I'm so happy right now, because I believe this is the reason I've been put on this earth. I just feel it in my bones.
Yeah, I love that story. And obviously, sorry that you got made redundant, but I'm a firm believer that things do happen to us for a reason, and that put you on this path. Interestingly, I read and hopefully I remember my next couple of points. Back in the day, you said about IT consultant. So Douglas Adams, who wrote Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and people will say that the question was, what's the meaning of life? And the answer is 42. But actually, the question is, what's the meaning of life, the universe, and everything? But so the answer is 42 by this supercomputer. And apparently Douglas Adams was a programmer back in his day. So whatever programming language he wrote in, 42 was actually the code for an asterisk. And an asterisk in programming, so I understand it, is anything you want it to be. So the answer to what is the meaning of life, the universe, and everything is the 42, which translates to an asterisk, which also translates to anything you want it to be. And it does sound like that's the kind of journey you went on there, Karen.
Yeah, it was, because I actually didn't know what I wanted it to be. All I wanted at that moment in time was not to feel like a failure, not to
Mm.
feel kind of doubting myself so bad. Like, I remember at the time telling my mum, of course, it was a different generation then, and she was like, okay, let's not tell the family, let's not tell anyone. And that's exactly how I felt then. I
Mm.
mean, it's different now, you know, remember that was her frame of reference. Sadly, she's no longer with us, but I know now that if this happened to my kids going forward, I've got a completely different mindset, and there's no shame around that situation. And yeah, I think
Yeah.
at the time,
I've been made redundant myself, and so it was the end of it was we were coming out of COVID, and it was this weird kind of awkward 2 week period where the boss started acting a bit funny, and it wasn't like I even got we because he closed the whole company and liquidated it, so we all got made redundant, all the staff, and we all had to go to the government to get our statutory redundancy money. So it's not like we got settlement agreements with big payouts. We got the bare minimum 3 weeks before Christmas, just after COVID. And so nowadays, when that happens, and I remember thinking the same thing about, I think my in laws said, oh, Richard's just been made redundant kind of thing. I was like, don't tell everyone. But at the same time, it wasn't like, oh, Rich has been made redundant because they were getting people. It was like, oh
yeah,
no, the proverbial closed the whole company and tossed them all out on their asses kind of thing.
yeah,
And so I don't. It's there's obviously no shame. It's for being made redundant, but I can appreciate why you felt that way back
yeah.
then.
Yeah, because we didn't have a massive thing like COVID that you could
Yeah.
explain. Well, actually, I guess the IT bubble broke, burst. It wasn't such a sort of worldwide thing like COVID. And it
Mm.
really, I guess if you've never, for me, my first thought was, shit, I'm not good enough. I really am not good enough. I'm not good, because it wasn't the whole company that was gone.
Yeah.
And it's not true. It's not that you're not good enough at all. And I think this is the thing. We're so quick to berate ourselves about things. You know, you're not good enough, you're enough, you should have done better. What did I do wrong? Even with feedback, oh, tell me what I need to improve. Don't tell me what I'm doing good. Well, actually, if you look
Mm.
at research, the Corporate Leadership Council has shown fair, accurate, and strength-based feedback can increase performance. But I think it's like, I need to get the exact figures now. It's something like either 27 or 39%, I can't remember. But it has a huge uprise in performance rather than what we would traditionally say. I say, Richard, okay, tell me all the things I'm doing wrong so that I can improve upon it. If we do that, that
Mm.
has actual evidence to say that we decrease our performance. And this is a study that was done at different countries and different industries, thousands of people, So we know that just focusing on those negative things will not help. That's not to say, oh, let's paper over the things that we need to improve upon. It's not that. It's actually saying, what am I good at? Let me build it onto it. And let's use language like, let's lean into X, Y, and Z so that you can make our weaknesses good enough so that we
Mm.
can get the thing done. And our strengths, that are already fabulous, exceptional. That's what we need to do. That's the shift. It's not about making things that we feel like we're not good enough exceptional. We're making those things good enough to get the job done and building on our strengths. It's so different. And when we're saying we're not good enough, that is just not the case. You need to go back. Oh God, I feel really passionate about this, but you have to go back and you have to go through all the work that you've done inside and outside of work and find evidence to refute that. Where have you been more than enough? Where have you overcome harder things in your personal life than you're facing right now? It's just sometimes in that moment when we feel that sting of failure, we forget all the good stuff that we've done.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think that as humans, we're hardwired that way, though.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, aren't we? It's a survival
yeah,
mechanism.
it is.
But it's like don't eat that berry because that makes you poorly, kind of thing. And it's to keep you alive, not rather than
Yeah,
that berry was really nice. Eat more of those. That kind of happens, but you know what I mean.
yeah, I do.
Into my self-employment journey, I learned rather quickly that done was better than perfect. And another point on this, while I'm ticking them all off in my head, was school is designed to make workers, isn't it? And so they don't teach you how to be, a self-employed business coach or a self-employed freelance administrator, they kind of teach you to go to a workplace and do a job. And so when it comes to being freelance or working for yourself, you feel like you have to be, especially if you've done corporate, semi-corporate, etc., or a 9 to 5, you feel like you have to apply the same mold to self-employment. And it doesn't necessarily work that way. But so I mean, you could tell people you're open 9 to 5, but you might like working from 1 till 7. But we are conditioned by school to fit the mold, as it were. And some of us don't fit in the mold. We're square pegs trying to fit in round holes.
I think it's interesting, isn't it? I think COVID changed the way we viewed work, right? So suddenly things became a bit more flexible. And I do feel now that we've moved on a bit since perhaps you and I were at school. I think about my kids. So I've got 3 kids. My eldest is 17, my middle is 15, and my youngest is 11. What I've noticed is that they do well at school is they talk about growth mindsets in the ways that we never had at school. We never had things like that. And I think, I think the fact that they're teaching that now is going to help the generations going forward. But I really do believe it's the people that you surround yourselves with, the podcasts you listen to, like this one, and others, that really can nourish your mind. And the danger is, like, for our kids, is you're looking at your Instagram feed or your YouTube thing or your TikTok thing, and it's feeding you rubbish, and God, if I said to my teens, don't look at that, look at this TED talk, or look at it, of course they're not going to do it. I mean, what teen is going to do it? But I think there's something around what I notice for my kids that the schools are doing quite well is that resilient mindset, helping them understand that we're not always going to get stuff, but what to do next. It's not the be all and it's not the end all, like everything is okay. We're still alive. We've still got our health or whatever it is. Just that mindset of give it a go. There's like, I was going to just share this. I'll share it. I'll say. Very recently, so my daughter's doing A-levels at the moment. Very recently, she applied to be the head of diversity and inclusion at their school. And basically the school said, you stand a very slim chance, and this is to everybody, if you've been late. If you've got a series of lates and you're thinking you've got a very slim chance. Anyway, she has a series of lates. And she said to herself, despite all of that, I'm going to give it a go. So she had to fill in, she had to fill in an application. She had to be interviewed by a panel. She had to give a 1-minute speech on all of this. And to our surprise, she actually got it. And what I said to her at the time was, and she tried to make not a big deal about it. She told me she did it, but she was really playing it down. And I said to her, look, I don't care whether you get it or not. What I care about is that you've made the effort, you've gone against the odds, and you've tried it, even knowing that you might be at a disadvantage because of your lates. And she went for it. And that, I think, is a good sign that at home and at school and around her, she's developing that mindset of, let me just give it a go. And when you're talking about entrepreneurs and business owners, that's exactly what we need to have. It's like, okay, this didn't work, let's pivot, let's do something else. Okay, this outreach thing isn't working. Okay, fine, what am I learning? What do I need to do differently? That's what we need in life, I think. That sense of resilience and understanding that we are successful because we're trying, not because we got the thing or we got the trophy, we got the award, we got the client. We're successful because we turn up every day, we're consistent, we are persistent, and we know when to adapt. That's the thing.
Yeah, I love that. I recently took up journaling after watching Peter McKinnon, I think, doing it.
Okay.
And so I'm giving it a bash anyway. And I'm starting slow because if I have a tendency to kind of go all in on something and then get bored of it a little bit quick. So if I slow myself down a little bit, then I will continue to do it. But one of the prompts that I have during it is like 3 boxes. Like, did I complete my move goal today? Did I exercise today? And did I feel like I progressed?
Yes.
And then there's a red, orange, and green. And the majority of the time, I have progressed as orange. But that is like, you felt like I've progressed a little bit, but at least I'm heading in the right direction.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, if you imagine in front of you is a ladder. This is how I like to think about it. Imagine there's in front of you is a ladder. If you imagine the first step is up here and you're down here, you're not going to take that step. But if you imagine the first step is here, then the next step is here, then the next step is here, then the next step is here, you're more likely to reach that step up here, because that's the point. And instead of always looking forward, oh my gosh, I've got to get this high and I'm here, actually look back and say, oh look, I've progressed up to here, look at my starting point. And that's a massive, massive mindset shift that I would recommend everybody does. Instead of always looking forward, thinking about what have I got to achieve, look back and see what your starting point was and what you've achieved as a result. Again, I do a lot of this work, this mindset work first with my clients, because it's often, and it is actually, it's not often, it always is, our mindset is the foundation for understanding our success, understanding our worth, and having us progress further. Because when we look back, we can understand, look how much we've achieved, and we often don't do that.
Yeah, that's. I was talking to my dad yesterday, actually, and I was saying about we were talking business kind of thing, and he said like about the stuff I've done over the last 18 months, including the podcast, which this will be episode 37 that we're recording. Is it 29 or 29, 30? There's 30 published or something out there in the ether, and that's since the 2nd of August I started recording them.
Wow, that is a momentum.
But sometimes, yeah, I did front load it. So I did a lot over the summer, and then I got lots of recordings done, and then I've had to slow it down because I learned that you can't do that all. You can't do them all at once. But it's like, but yeah. So basically, essentially, none of us look back and say, look what you've done." And if you've got a certain mind, if you're a certain type of person like myself, it's just like, right, my day job basically is complete tasks for people, right? So it's like, right, done that, next job. So it's like, start a podcast, right? We've started it. When's the next recording? Next recording, that's done. Edit it. Get it out, done. Next episode. When's the next recording? Get that done. Ticking off the boxes all the time and never stop. And I think, actually, this is my 37th recording. It's actually more, but this is the official 37th episode. So God knows how many 40-odd recordings. 2 failed. It was technology issues. We've had a couple of self-episodes and stuff like that, and with that came, learning about video. Exactly. And then, I've made different types of videos on YouTube and lighting. Like when I first started, I can't remember what lights I had. But, now there's like light over here, light over here, light over here, lights behind me, and all that stuff. And you pick up all these new skills as you're going along, but you don't stop and think about it, because you just keep ticking off the lists. So I love what you're saying there about the mindset thing and the looking back. And I am going to look back later on.
It's so powerful. Sorry, I was going to just say this. It's just so bloody powerful. Because imagine moving forward with the energy of, look at what I've achieved. Look how much I've learned. How proud am I of myself? Versus, oh my God, look what I've done. I've got to do this, then I've got to tick this off, and then I've got to do this, and I still have to find that person for that episode million, whatever it is, whatever you're on. It's such a completely different energy, and what it does, it helps you realise your success, because we don't. Working with ambitious people, I'm often saying to them, you need to stop, take a moment, think about what you've achieved, before you start going on the treadmill over and over and over and over again, because you're just not getting any satisfaction if you just do that. And it's so powerful when you do.
Yeah, I suppose that's the type of people we are, though, as entrepreneurs, business owners, etc. Yeah. Is like, you got to get on that hamster wheel and you got to just keep going, and then you work towards your goals, obviously, but once you ticked it off, there's always a bigger one over the hill, isn't there?
Yeah, it is. And the thing is, if you want to keep going, you have to stop and pause and smell the roses, understand your success, and let that motivate you forward, rather than a taskmaster that's whipping you at the side, telling you, come on. It's not the energy that's going to keep you going.
Right, Karen, before we do the questions, let's just talk about the types of clients you work with. So is it like, are you like B2B kind of thing? You're working with corporate businesses and you kind of do like group sessions, or are you like individuals, small businesses, or are you a selection of the whole lot?
I'm a selection of the whole lot because people find me through either my corporate work. So I've delivered a training session somewhere, they've contacted me separately and they said, can you do some coaching with me? Or a corporate has seen me somewhere, on LinkedIn or I don't know, somewhere, and they've come to me and they've said, look, can you put together a talk or a training session for this? Or what I'm doing at the moment is a lot of sort of exposure in LinkedIn. I suddenly become really active in LinkedIn. So I got it's quite funny actually, notification that said, I started in LinkedIn only in August. So I got this notification, I feel like it was last year sometime, that says, oh, you've been with LinkedIn for 18 years. I'm like, no, I haven't. I've just logged on. I've done nothing with LinkedIn for 18 years. And that was like, okay, right, Karen, why am I not using this? Why am I frightened of social media? Why am I like, I have to, what is it, walk the talk? So I said to myself, okay, I know nothing about marketing, nothing about sales. Because for me, I've been very lucky and people have been, recommending me, and that's how I've got my clients. But I thought, let me just give LinkedIn a go. I'm like, okay, so what do I post about? My God, I don't know. I don't know what to post about. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to really flop. It's going to be so embarrassing. There's going to be people on there that don't know me, that know me and think, and all of this rubbish that was going on in my head. I ditched it like I would tell my clients to do. I'm like, okay, just show up messy. Just talk about something. And it just so happened that I happened to talk about being a class rep for my son's class, a job that nobody wanted, but then I put my hand up for, and I ended up really enjoying it. It's really random. Anyway, I started posting, and through posting, I post once a day, 5 days a week. I found my voice, and I found the things I want to talk about, and I found my tribe of people. And a lot of people come from LinkedIn as well as another place. And the other thing I've started is a YouTube channel. Like, I know nothing about YouTube. I've literally got 2 videos on there which are repurposed from LinkedIn. Like you said, I don't know about the lighting, I don't know about the editing, but you have to walk your talk, Turn up messy, learn. I think I've got at the time, I think I've got 60 views, which I don't know if that's good or not good. I don't know. Don't care. The point is, I'm just doing this for me. Like, I have to do things that take me outside of my comfort zone, that stretch me, and remind me what it feels like to not know everything, to not be perfect, to keep it real in my own life. I mean, YouTube is really scary for me, as was LinkedIn. So I'm trying to grow my crowd, my tribe, my people in different ways. Because I want a diverse range of people. They tend to be people who are director level or they've got their own business. And the thing that they've got all in common is that they're very talented, but lack the tools, the frameworks to help them fast track where they want to be. That's it. And then there's something about being accountable together. You've got your own personal cheerleader that's going to keep you on the straight and narrow, that really accelerates where they want to go. So it's a whole group of people that I work with. Yeah.
I love that. Okay, let's do the questions. Well, then we'll go back to YouTube. I love to talk about YouTube. Okay, so I'm just going to remind myself of these. It has been a couple of weeks since my last recording, though I'm impressed that I managed my first line without the use of looking at the phone. Okay, so question number 1. So you've alluded to your age a little, but I don't believe you. You must be all of like 26 or something.
Oh, you just said
but
things.
what's your favourite age been so far, Karen?
Do you know, that's how funny. I was thinking about that the other day. I don't know why. I think it must be the age I'm at that made me think about what was my favourite decade. I think probably my 30s, because in my 30s you suddenly realise you've got it together. You've got whatever it is together, and things are still new. You might start a family, you might, be moving houses, you might be starting a business, but it's kind of together, but still new and exciting, and things are on the horizon. And then I also like my 40s. I'm giving things away a little bit here, but my 40s, because there I felt like I've landed. I know myself, I've evolved enough, there's more to come. But it's like in my 50s, I've really grounded in that I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And that's okay. I don't like everyone, and I don't expect everyone to like me. And that's such a big thing. You know, I'm really okay to be me and how I show up in the world and with my energy and my passion and whether someone thinks it's over the top or not, and my practical nature and everything. I'm good with that, and my tribe find me, and the people that aren't my tribe are okay too. You know, there's enough for us, and I've really, I don't know, I kind of settled into that space. And I read this amazing book, actually. I'm going to show it. Hang on, I'm going to actually show it here. Sorry, because I've got it. This amazing book is called Manifest. I don't know if anyone's read this, but it is so good. It's like a 7-step framework to, I would say, understanding what you want in life and then going about achieving it in a very positive way. And it really focuses on mindset, and it's based in neuroscience, and that's what I like. Some of the things that I've taken away from that book that I feel contribute to my 40th decade, and the decade I'm in, giving it away here, is that I've created a gratitude practice. All I do, I know that sounds all I do is, just as I'm waking up, say in my head, sometimes I say it aloud, but most of the time it's in my head, 20 things I'm grateful for. Now that sounds like a lot, but it could be things like, I'm grateful that it's a sunny day, I'm grateful for being in a comfy bed, I'm grateful for, my cats running up to see me first thing in the morning, anything. And I do that first thing in the morning, last thing at night. And the other thing I do are positive self-affirmations. I'm capable, I'm loved, I am safe. These things work because they're based in neuroscience, because what you're doing is you're rewiring your brain to look for the positive. And when you do that, you boost your self-confidence, which means if I get a setback in the day, like something hasn't gone exactly the way I want, instead of going into a stupor about it and crying into my beer, or gin in my case, I'm like, okay, this didn't work, fine, what's next? It really helps. And it's not woo-woo, it's science. It really is. And I think from my years onwards, I've really settled into being happy in my own skin, not having to be worried about judgments or other people or anything. And also in one of those decades there, 2 decades, I had kids. So that really changed things and really changed how I turned up in life.
I love that answer. I've had some thoughts on manifesting. It's funny because we were talking about, was that the last episode or was that the recording I've just done? It was the episode before last, so episode 28, Kirsty Heap. We were talking about, pointing in the mirror and, you are good enough, you are, and, shouting at yourself and stuff like that. Definitely go and check that one back. Look back at that one, but all about positive affirmations, positive reinforcement. Manifestation's real. They proved it in the 80s. 2003 CIA study was released, and you can even astro project apparently. But we won't go down that rabbit hole. We'll move on to question 2. What's your favourite quote? This could be a movie quote, a meme, a motivational quote, or any other quote you can think of.
So one of my favourite quotes, actually it's on my fridge, I should have brought it, but one of my favourite quotes is by John Lennon, and he says, well, it's part of the Up Here as well, he says, everything will be okay in the end, and if it's not okay, it's not the end. And that really sums up everything for me.
Yeah, I really love that. Yeah, like full stop, that's it. I've not heard that one before, but I totally love it.
Thank you. It just really resonates with me. And the other one, actually, I would say is, and this helps me, and if you're a business owner, this will help. If you're in any career, this will help as well, is saying to yourself, what if life was rigged for me to succeed? Now that is from someone, and I can't remember who it is, but I know that is attributed to someone. And that, for me, when I say that, what if life was rigged for me to succeed? I would do so much, because it takes away the fear of failure. So just let that sink in. And when we really unpack that, success and failure are the twins. You treat them the same. If I Did this really well, great. What did I learn? What can I build on? What would I do differently? Damn, I didn't get that. So what can I learn? What would I do differently? What would I build on? It's the same. Treat success and failure as the same, and it takes the sting away from worrying about things. What if life was rigged for me to succeed?
Yeah, I love that. Extension on that is there are no failures, there are only lessons.
Exactly.
Cool. Question number 3 is Google Suite or Microsoft 365?
Microsoft 365. No
Nice,
question.
nice. Have you tried Google?
I've tried Google Docs, and I think it's because I've always had Microsoft 365, and that's why.
Yeah, that's usually my answer. Is I slightly favour Microsoft 365 because that's what I grew up with. That's what we had. We didn't have Google back then. Cool. Question number 4. What app can you not live without?
That is a good one. What app could I... Do you know what? I'm going to say it's between two. Okay. I have discovered recently, it's a free app, and it's called Timer. Hang on, what's it called? My son calls it Insect. I know it's not Insect Timer. I think it's called Insight. I'll have a look at it when I turn on my phone in a minute. And it's a free meditation app. I know, it's just so good. I follow this guy called David G, and there's a meditation that's 20 minutes that's called Deep Healing, and it's like a body scan allowing you to relax, and it puts me to sleep in seconds. I love it. And I also use it for 5-minute positive affirmations in the middle of the day. It's so good, and it's free. And I don't know if it's exactly an app. And the other one I'd say, I don't know if it's exactly an app, but on my phone, my Apple phone, you can look at how many steps you've got. Don't know if that's
Oh yeah.
That I can't live without, because that's my goal. 10,000 a day. Come on, Karen, let's get going.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, if you send me the details over afterwards for the app,
Yeah. Cool.
the insect one, I'll pop it in the show notes.
Brilliant.
Question number 5. How many unread emails do you have on your phone right now?
Okay, how many unread emails do I have on my phone right now? I'm giving you the honest answer. It's not too bad. 98.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I hate that though. It stresses me out. One of my things on my to-do list today is to spend 15 minutes while I'm walking on my walk pad, which is underneath me, going through my emails.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, for a minute there, when I asked the question, and you kind of looked a bit like, whoa, I thought you were going to say like 30,000 or something, but no, 98 bad.
How many have you got?
Okay.
I'm curious. How many have you got?
Oh, I think it's like 35 or something.
That's so good. I want to get down to that.
Yeah, that's just my personal ones with the ones that I don't really read. But I use my emails as a to-do list as well. So I'll read it and go, okay, and then I'll mark it as unread and go back to it, because then there's a notification like, oh, hello, don't forget about me.
Very good.
Yeah, it's a weird system, and I don't know how it works, but it does. Okay, so prior to the show, I forgot to ask you about question 6, which was kind of dropped, but is optional. So are you into cars?
Into cars?
Yeah.
I think I can appreciate... Oh my goodness, this is going to sound so bad. I can appreciate a colour of a car. Sorry, this is so true.
Okay.
And I can appreciate a shape of a car.
Then we won't ask question 6. We'll leave it at question 5, and I'll skip this bit out. That's fine. Cool. So great answers there for those, Karen. Loved all of those, especially the quote from John Lennon. So I was going to ask you something else, and I've forgotten what it was. So in the interim, while I try and remember, I will ask you, what do you want to do? What do you want to be if and when you grow up?
For a second, what do I want to be if and when I grow up? You know what? This is going to sound so cringe, but it's actually the truth. I want to be a bigger version of me. Honestly, I really do. I want to have more speaking gigs. I want to get my message out even more to wider audiences. I think my ideal would be... I'm going to write a book. I love speaking. I love speaking gigs that I do. I just want to do more of those, and I want to help more people. Yeah, I just want to be more of me, ramped up.
I love that. What I was going to talk about before was YouTube, which kind of segues nicely from your comments about growing more. I can see you as YouTube extraordinaire, and
Thanks.
giving talks on YouTube, your videos that you could do on there, and it also made me think. So you concentrate on LinkedIn mostly, apart from your YouTube bit.
Well, I've only just literally started it a couple of weeks ago. I've got 2 videos on there. I had to learn how to even set up a channel. I didn't even know how to do that. It took me a whole day. Told my kids, and my kids were like, Mum, why didn't you ask me? I could have done that in 10 minutes. I'm like, oh, okay, fine.
So, do you do Instagram as well?
No, I don't. I figured, let me conquer LinkedIn. I feel comfortable in LinkedIn. I've got my groove going. I've got my post happening. I've got my voice beaming in there. And I do videos in LinkedIn every Friday, mindset hacks, because this is like the foundation of what I do. So I figured, why don't I just repurpose those and put them onto to YouTube? So I've got a bank of those. I think I've got about 20 or so. And I can put them onto YouTube like once a week, and then I can start doing what I understand now to be long form, where you do it like that, videos, as well as my shorts, because I'm doing shorts at the moment, so they're between 30 seconds and 1 minute. So
Okay.
that's what I'm doing at the moment. So, but I want to learn more and I want to put more out, and yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think long form content for YouTube would be great for you. You know, with your lessons on mindset, your neuroscience, etc., all your business lessons, etc., all that. I think that would be great on YouTube. And all your short form content, obviously, that YouTube Shorts is up and coming, as it were. But
Yeah.
obviously, you can repurpose all of that as well on TikTok and Instagram.
Ooh, so
TikTok, you can get quite the good reach on there with your videos. I would think.
really, so do you think I should? So should I then do this in tandem, or like get myself comfortable with YouTube for a bit, like I did with LinkedIn, and then repurpose that into TikTok, Instagram? What
I
would you
would,
say?
yeah. I mean, there's two avenues of thought. One is that you should focus on the platform that you love, and the other is for more reach, why not just repurpose it and post it out on all platforms? So for yourself, I would probably stick with getting comfortable and then expanding.
Yeah.
So post your YouTube shorts, see how long they go on, how well they go on there. I mean, YouTube shorts, you get some good reach on there currently,
What is
and then
good reach? Like,
obviously,
what would you say? So, like, I'm planning on posting every Friday on YouTube a short. What would
yeah,
constitute a good reach? It's like when you start off on these things in life, you don't actually know what good is. So what is good?
yeah. It's relative, obviously. So some could think that thousands are good reach. Some could think hundreds are good reach. You know, if I'm sat in my living room right now, if I get 30 views on a reel or on a YouTube short, I gotta get 30 people in my front room.
That's
So
incredible.
I couldn't like invite those 30 people in here and say what I said on my video, but they're watching it from wherever they are.
I love that thought.
And there's a carousel somewhere, and it's like and it shows you pictures of crowds, and it says like this is 20 people, and it's a huddle of people on the picture, and then it's like this is 100 people, and they're in like a theater, and then this is 500 people, and they're in like a bigger place, and then it works up to like 10,000 people, which is like stadiums. And so it depends on your audience, it depends what you're trying to achieve, but for sometimes 30 people's enough. If you from 30 people you got 2-3 inquiries,
Yeah, that's it.
then that's better than 10,000 people seeing it and not getting one inquiry.
Exactly. So I'll come back in a year's time and I can tell you how that worked out for me with my YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah, we'd love you. We're talking about episode twos of people. Obviously, as the show has progressed, as things have since started, and we've already this year we changed the questions slightly because they fit better, and changed the show layout slightly. But come next year, we'll perhaps be reviewing people with a slightly different format. How you're getting on, what have you done since this last show, that kind of thing. So yeah, we'd love to have you back. So I think that is a great place to wrap up, Karen. It's been
Thank
lovely
you.
talking to you.
Been fantastic being here, Richard. It's been a ball.
I think I follow you on LinkedIn, but if I don't, I will now. But in the show notes, I will put all the details. But if you want to just tell our listeners/watchers where they can find you.
Yeah, so I would say the main place is LinkedIn, and it's Karen Sigalas. And again, it's the same channel for YouTube, but the main place is LinkedIn. And I'm currently going through a website revamp, which is www.coachkaren.com.
Awesome stuff. Like I say, I'll put those in the show notes. I'm going to go and subscribe to you on your YouTube channel in a moment.
That means I have 11 subscribers. I'm so excited.
Exciting stuff. Thanks for watching. Thanks very much to Karen coming on. It's been so great to talk to you. And I'll be back with a new guest next week. But in the interim, be excellent to each other and peace out.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on Rad-Ventures. Don't forget to subscribe via your favourite platform. Always happy to chat, so hit me up in the DMs. And I'll see you on the next Rad-Venture.